7,890 square feet, and their warehouse space, they are at 11,000 square feet. So in May, we did programming with them, and with combined space, their needs are 32,460 square feet. And so the office space, their needs are 17,580 square feet, and for warehouse, 14,880 square feet. Previously, we were looking for about 30,000 square feet, so it bumped up just about 2,500 square feet. And so in total, for the space that we're looking for elections, it's about a 72% increase in square feet for them. Okay, so facility search. So I will tell you that we have been looking for an election space since about 2017. And really the requirements haven't changed other than just that little bit of square feet since that time. So I say about 30,000 plus square feet, discussed 32,500. We know that we were looking for space that's both warehouse and office combined space. The desire was 100 plus parking spaces. 200 parking spaces was optimal. They asked for at least one loading dock. 2 was optimal. They wanted heating and cooling in the warehouse. They preferred a single tenant space and close proximity to downtown. And recently, I think you all received a letter from the Secretary of State. The desire there is that when we find a building that we immediately put in security cameras as well as key card access in the building. Our current project budget for the facility is $3 million. That project budget was established around 2017. The basis for that budget was based on the Reagan building, $50 a square foot for the acquisition of a property and $50 a square foot in remodel. That's what we based it on. We never did go back and change that project budget because I think the philosophy behind that was let's find an adequate building, see what we need to do for the building, and then adjust the project budget after that. So in 2023, Andrew Diltz, Director of Facilities, has looked at, and myself included in some of this, reviewed over 16 buildings in 2023 for elections. This kind of reads like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but these are some of the reasons why these 16 buildings didn't work for elections. Not enough parking, building is in poor condition, or the age of the building. As we looked at the building, we just felt that there would be too much construction to renovate the building, which really equates to cost to remodel would be too high, as well as the purchase of the building. Location would not be optimal, basically not a right fit for the elections office. And in some of the locations, security was a concern. So we think at this point we have found a suitable space for the elections building. This building is at 3639 North Comatera Street. It's currently the Waltons Inc. building. We were notified of this building. It's currently an off the market building, and we were notified in late October. So let me talk about this building a little bit. It's a concrete brick building. That is one portion of the building. It was built in 1988. It's about 31,973 square feet. So this building was a former call center building. They added on to this building in 2013 with a metal building just under 15,000 square feet at 14,640 square feet. So this metal building that I'm talking about, they use this building for warehouse space. Additionally, they have 2 storage buildings on site. One was built in 2016, 4,800 square feet, and then they built another one in 2021. That is 6,000 square feet. So the building conditions for this particular space, Okay, combined office and warehouse, 46,613 square feet. On the site, they have 128 parking spaces. They recently did some crack seal and striped the building, striped the parking lot. I will tell you that it's well lit. I add the plus there because I think that you can add some additional parking spaces if needed. They did not, because they have the parking lot where trucks can easily come in and out of the space. So the way that they have put that parking lot, they don't have many spaces there to allow the trucks to come in and out. They have 4 loading docks and 1 ground level loading dock. They have 4 entrances into the site, 2 into the parking lot, and then 2 into the main office building. The warehouse is heated and cooled. It is a single tenant space. In terms of the proximity to downtown, it's 9.5 miles from the courthouse, which equates to 15 minutes. It's directly off of K96 to Rock Road. I will tell you, Andrew and I walked through the building several times in our casual observation. We feel that it's a very well-maintained facility. I talked about the storage space between those 2 metal buildings. That's 10,800 additional square feet of storage space. There is a bus stop that stops at Rock Road and 36th Street. And there are security cameras on site that we will be able to recoup from the building if we are able to get this building, or we're moving forward on this building. So we will be able to have those security cameras and utilize those. I've taken some pictures of the interior and exterior of the facility. As you can see, let me see if I can get, oh, good. Okay. So this is the executive offices here. And then here is just kind of a hallway out of the executive offices into kind of classroom space. This here is their storefront space. Down here is their break room and snack shop. This here is their classrooms / training space. And then here is their facility shop. And then I just want to point out here is another overhead door that's kind of on the side of the building there. This is their warehouse space. I've taken several pictures as you can see. Some of the shelving goes 4 and 5 up. And then this is just a picture here that I wanted to show. From the inside is their loading dock area, and here's the 4 loading docks. And then here is the exterior of the building. This area here is just an additional employee entrance here. This is the side of the building. Here is the exterior of the loading dock. This is the 4 loading dock here. And then over here on the side is that ground level loading dock area. This is looking to the west. Additional space for the trucks to kind of maneuver in and out. And then here is, so this is the storefront area right here. And so this is looking south. And about here, I counted about 36 parking stalls into the storefront, into the executive offices area. These are the metal buildings that I described. So this middle one here, this is, I would say, the west metal building. Up here is the east building, and then these are the 2 metal buildings combined. Okay, so Andrew put together an estimate on what we think it would take to acquire the building and put some additional work into the building that I talked about before. That would be the access control, anything that we would need to access the cameras, and if we need to do any additional cameras. We've put a number to there that we think would be what I would say minimal remodel, because as we said, we walked through, we think that this is a very well-maintained building. Anything that the election commissioner would need as far as networking, IT, Cox, that type of cost. We know that she wants to fence an area for her trucks, and then signage, both interior and exterior, so that it's well signed, movers, any furniture, fixtures, and equipment. And then always on a project, we put project contingency, permitting, that type of cost to it. So as I mentioned, we have a $3 million budget. So this would be an additional $2,884,428. As I mentioned, we had 3 million, so that would be the additional. But for a total cost for elections would be $5,884,428. And so that's my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And also Andrew Diltz and Laura Rainwater are here as well to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Tanya. And also thank you, Andrew, for sounds like 7 years of work to locate an elections building. Questions or comments? Commissioner Dennis?
Thank you. I appreciate it. A couple of things, and we talked about this offline, but I want to make sure the public is aware of it. This is 18,000 square feet more than what is the requirement. Mm-hmm. So we do have other plans for utilization of the rest of that property, correct?
I can't say that we have any definitive plans, but I sure have a lot of ideas at this point. And I'm happy to mention those or yeah, we already have our wheels spinning on what we can do with that additional space.
For example, those outbuildings, those are perfect storage for some of the buildings we were looking for storage. There are things we can do inside.
Absolutely.
The other thing, again, we've also talked about offline that I need to verify is that this is not right downtown where a lot of people are used to where they go to vote. But the election commissioners agreed to have a satellite location downtown for future, so that there's no hindrance of any of the public that is used to coming downtown for voting. You want to from that.
Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for having us. Yeah, our plan is to open the same day we open early voting at the election office, which is 15 days before every election. We would open one downtown, and we'd also like to open one on the west side, so which we don't currently do. So that would allow ease of access for voters all across the city.
First, I've heard about the west side. So
We want to do a west side, hopefully like the extension office. So, yeah.
Very good. That's all I've put.
Okay.
Other questions, comments? Would you be able to tell me, Tanya, what is that? What do we do for contingency percentage wise of budget?
Sure. On every CIP project, we put a 10% contingency 10%. In.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Thank you. Just has anybody looked at the walking time from that bus stop to the election office?
I have not.
I just looked it up. It's 14 minutes to walk from. So again, round trip, that'd be about half an hour to walk from the bus stop to the election office and walk back. Is that bus run like every hour, or how does it work?
Yeah, I'd have to do some more research on that.
Okay. I think I'll have to take a look at that. You said you're not sure that the cameras are sufficient. There might be potentially the security cameras that are already there.
I think they're sufficient, but I think Laura would have to do some research on what exactly, I mean, how much, are the cameras sufficient for what they're looking at? Does she need interior cameras? When I looked, I mean, they have several cameras on the exterior and on the metal buildings. So I felt like the security cameras are sufficient, but I am not the election commissioner, so I would want her to, look into how well she feels that they are looking into, the security of her facility.
As you know, thank you for that answer. As you know, we did, I think the commissioners, I'm sure all of them did, but we got a chance to tour this building.
Mhm.
I know I've toured at least another one or two buildings in the last year, but you said you looked at 16.
Mhm.
How many of those buildings were actually toured by county staff? All 16?
Oh, I know I looked at least half of them, and I think Andrew, can you speak to if you looked at all those? Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think we do a thorough vetting of the buildings as they are sent to us for the purpose of the elections.
Since the majority of the space, majority of this space needed is going to be warehouse space versus office public space. Is anybody for the $5.8 million? Has anybody looked at just building the building?
Yes, I presented you with costs on building a building.
Been a while, so I forgot those numbers, but okay.
Yeah. I'm happy to present that to you if you need that.
One of my other concerns, of course, is on the timeline of this. I understand that possession, if you take the worst case scenario, it could be a couple of years away before we'd have possession of this. So and then I think on top of that, potentially, I'm not sure what you said the other day now, but is that any remodeling we have to do to this building? I'm not sure that was included in the 2 years or not, but we're looking at some time and potentially get the dates right here. So 24. Basically first quarter of 26 is when we're talking about potentially.
I think that's worst case scenario.
Right.
Mhm.
The best case scenario is what?
June 1 of 2025.
All right. I know that there's at least one other building that you know what I'm talking about, but I don't feel like we've done enough consideration on that, but I believe the price is significantly less than this. And it is slightly larger and it has more parking and it's it's closer to the downtown proximity. And I think possession would be a lot faster. And so I'm a little bit concerned that we maybe bypassed maybe a better option. I'm not so sure that this is the best option at this point. Again, if on the buildings, if we were looking at $5.8 million, I think that might bring in other buildings into our consideration. We were looking for buildings much less than that. For many, since 2017, we kind of, this whole topic kind of cooled off for a long time. So I would say we've been looking at buildings since 2017. There were several years there I don't think we looked at anything where it wasn't part of our focus at the time. We had other things to think about, but I know we did start searching back in 2017, I believe, but there's been periods of time where we didn't do a lot of work on this particular project. Maybe more since our new commissioner has taken the position. I think she's been very interested in moving this idea forward. But I guess we're looking at $5.8 million. I'm wondering how many other buildings are out there at that price point that we maybe have not really seriously looked at. Anyway, I guess my concern is, and please confirm for me if you will, but the state law does require that this is a polling site. But because of where it is, you would still intend to have a downtown polling site.
Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of business people are used to voting at the election office. I know when I worked for the city of Wichita, everybody in the city building came over and voted. I think it would be very convenient to have one down here, located somewhere within the county's administrative footprint. But then I also want to open one out west.
But that would also have to have, park. Would it be something that would move from year to year? You would find different spaces.
No, I
want to purchase
for downtown, I think it would be very fitting to have it located somewhere within the footprint of the administration of Sedgwick County, those offices, whether that be at Ruffin or if you guys end up moving your administration to another building, have it located because we don't need a lot of square footage. I mean, we do early voting in the historic courthouse and not a very big room, about the size of this room. So it wouldn't have to be a huge space to open up an early voting center downtown. And there's plenty of options for
But you
that
would
down
probably
here.
want to own that so that it's not moving every year.
Right. We would want to keep it in the same location for continuity.
Well, I'll just state up front, this is a very beautiful building. It is, in many ways, it is a great building. I think it offers some things, in this discussion that we did not even necessarily desire in this discussion, but they're coming to us as part of the deal, like the outbuildings, for example. But I think overall, the price point, the time for possession, and the fact that we're talking the location, I'm concerned about. I guess today there's no decision to be made today, obviously. But I guess I would like to have the public weigh in on any concerns about having this essentially at a place that's 0.7 miles east and north of 36th and Rock Road. This is it's closer to 37th Street North and maybe probably closer to actually Webb Road than Rock Road. So having this in that location, is that a concern for the public? And in terms of early voting, your downtown election office typically has how many days of early voting?
15.
Right. Whereas the early vote sites elsewhere typically is 4 or 5 days.
Right.
Correct?
3 currently.
3 days. So we would have to operate a downtown office for 15 days roughly,
Right.
in addition to this. So I don't know what the cost of that would be. That's not part of this discussion today. That is the cost we need to be aware of.
What I would also like to look at is transit. This location is closer to 37th Street. It's like half a block, 1 block from 37th Street. Would like to work with transit if there's not already a stop at Comatera and 37th, if we could make one on election day. I know transit has been very accommodating, offering free bus rides to voters on election day. And so that would get them much closer to, it's very good access to K96 and Rock Road. So I don't see the access, the time frame works out. There's no way we could move our office this year. No way. We have an election coming up here in 6-7 weeks. I got thrown 2 more special elections in May. We've got the primary in August, the general in November. So there is no way we could physically move our office this year.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, I'll just say that I am right now concerned that this is where we're headed. I think that there are other options potentially. I think maybe better than this one. Again, I'll speak to the one building. Even if you didn't move until spring of next year, I still think it saves a lot of money. It's a better location, and actually, there's other reasons why we don't want to consider that one. But with that, I'll just stand. I might be a lone wolf here. That's okay. I do think we need an election office. I just don't know that this is the right one. Thank you so much.
Appreciate the feedback. Any other questions, comment? Commissioner Meister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick couple of questions. So, Laura, what is your foot traffic outside of the election season? Like right now, Monday through Friday, daily?
Daily now, yes, because we have school board candidates that are coming to get sworn in. We have people that are coming in to file for this upcoming elections already. How often do they come to the election office? Once every 4 years. Now, our state representatives mainly file up in Topeka, but if they came to our office to file, which is a few do, that's once every 2 years. But not a lot of foot traffic.
Okay, that's what I kind of thought. But I've got history with the transit. When WSU Tech got there, transit's very open to
Right.
adjusting
I agree.
their routes. But in fairness to transit, they need to know that, is it really a lot of people daily, hourly, or is it
Election
once
day.
in a while?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe they can adjust the routes during the election voting.
Right.
I don't know, but that's a great conversation you can have. But they are flexible about adjusting.
Sure.
But there's no promise that we have to have it.
No.
Maybe you
And we don't, because early voting at the election office, when it's down here, it's primarily business people that work in downtown Wichita that come to vote. There's others that come down, that drive in from East and West Wichita, which is why I would like to open up 2 satellite locations, one on the west side as well for that 15 days of early voting.
Okay, well, and just for public, I feel like my history here has been, this has been a challenge. I know the CIP said, you said 3 million originally, and I've heard a number of times we knew it was going to be more than that because it's an old number. And I think I've seen about 5 buildings myself. I don't know if you looked at 12 or 13. We've all looked at, I think 5 or 6, and they were all, you had to have a lot of imagination to see if it would work or not. And eventually came to the conclusion that it wasn't going to work for a number of reasons, one way or another. And this one just has that almost a plug and play type of feel between training rooms, storage, office space. Andrew, you went through it. I don't know how much construction is going to interior. Yeah, you're saying a little bit. It does seem, other than just programming to say, you know, which office is the election commissioner's office. I assume she gets the Taj Mahal office and then others, but it does, to me, it just fits. And I know there's some other buildings that are less expensive, let's say, but to get this one done and satisfy the Secretary of State and the Homeland Security issues with security all the way around, getting all your machines on the same campus, buildings, the loading docks, blah blah blah. So
That's beautiful.
I am supportive of this, and I think we move out. Okay, thank you.
Good feedback. Thank you, Commissioner Dennis.
Thank you. I've already asked all my questions. Just a couple comments on why I support this facility. First, this 5.8 million is all in. That's all the renovation. That's all the cameras. That's everything. So, granted, we were looking to try and buy a building for $3 million, but we knew we weren't all in on $3 million. We'd have all these other expenses to be able to get into that facility at that time. Looking at other buildings, sir, we've looked at a lot of other buildings and we've looked at the price points on those. And yeah, we could probably buy a building cheaper than that, but again, it's not all in. In addition, on top of that, is we have a lot of other things we're getting with this facility. We've been talking about finding storage space, for example, and I've already mentioned that we've got 2 outbuildings that are huge that we could use as some storage space. We're looking at some reprogramming on what offices need to be with us if we get a new admin building, we build one, or we find another building. Well, we can reprogram some of that space into this because there's additional space out there that we can use for those other offices that we don't have to program into an admin building for the future. And that'll keep that cost of the admin building, no matter whether it's a existing building or a new build, it'll keep the cost of that down. So there's a lot of advantages to this building. Yeah, we're going to have to work with making sure that people can get to that facility. But beyond that, I am not concerned about the location. I'm not concerned about the price. I've looked at a lot of buildings. I've walked through a lot of buildings. This is the first one out of all the ones that I walked through that I thought this is one that we ought to be taking a look at. So I am all in on it. Thank you.
Very good. Last comments, questions? Good feedback all around. Thank you, Tanya. Appreciate it. Tom, is that the only item on staff?
It is. Tanya, could you stay at the podium just 1 minute? So next Wednesday, the commission, this will be what's brought forward to the commission next Wednesday? Can you go over?
As far as this is concerned, so we have a purchase agreement that we have put forth to the owner. They are taking a look at it. They should be providing feedback to us. My hope is that we will have this to the commission on the 24th for your review. Correct.
Very good. Before we wrap up staff, it's been a week of weather and we have a weekend of weather coming. Lynn Packer's been, our Public Works Director, has been giving us incredible updates. Well, we have the opportunity, if you might just publicly kind of give us an idea of what we can anticipate, what your Public Works Department has been doing and the work they've been doing. It's been exceptional. And what they'll be doing this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, we've, it's not unprecedented by any means, but for many years, we have not had going on 4 different storms in a single week. So we run, like KDOT and our colleagues over at the City of Wichita, we run our 12-hour shifts, 24 hours a day when we run into these storms. So since last Friday, they've gotten, I think they've received 2 nights off where they haven't had to report, because as some understand, once the snow may be for a day or for a night, but cleanup and restocking and getting our equipment ready to go again, that's another shift on it all on its own. So, and then by the time they're cleaned up and ready to go, and we start, going out and preparing for the next storm coming in. So last night, thankfully, we didn't get anything but some flurries and some good wind. A little bit heavier in flurries at some time up north, but nothing that we were able to go out there and sand and watch some of we have areas we know to watch, elevated roadways and everything to watch, and it was an easy shift for them. We'll be looks like we'll be back at it again on Sunday, so they'll get tonight, tomorrow off, but we'll probably start up again on Sunday to get things ready. And it's looking dry after that. So hopefully that can be cold but dry. And they can have a little bit of time off and breather. I will tell you, for those of you that have not done this type of shift work, it is working these 12-hour shifts and doing it here and there is, it's an inconvenience, but you can handle it. When you're doing it just back to back, literally back to back, they're tired.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the recognition. They have done an outstanding job. We are 33% short in our field crews right now. We are missing 25 drivers, but the guys who are out there have done an outstanding job. And they've really done well. Our highway superintendent, our foreman, have all communicated really, really well. And they've really done a good job at these snow events so far. I'm very proud of them.
Well, I've gotten a lot of feedback from some of my constituents, and just please, thank you for the updates. First of all, you've been providing. They are very good. And please extend our thanks to your crews. They're doing exceptional work.
Definitely do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, Tom, if we're done with staff, you want to move into agenda review?
I think we have to wait till 10 o'clock for the public.
Okay.
So we'll take a short break and we'll resume.
Short break. We'll reconvene at 10 o'clock.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yeah, please.
Could, and I don't mean to catch you off guard, but Mike, maybe you could update us on the Odyssey.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Sorry, but I don't want to put you on the spot, but
It's good. Yeah.
we did see some news coming out.
Right. There was a press release on Tuesday, I believe, that said that they were going to try to have their e-file back online by yesterday. I have not heard if that was the case, but the last I heard, the district court, DC 18, is making very good progress at getting the backlog of cases loaded into the system. I believe, I want to say 50%, that they were 50% through that backlog, but don't hold me to that. But things are going well so far, and no setbacks.
But thank you. That's I run into a few judges.
Yeah.
But they're very respectful, as you know, and know that their staff is working hard to catch up. But they do the eye roll about. So today.
To my knowledge, their offices are still open only in the mornings.
Well, thank you. And so the background check world is still, we refer them in person at the courthouse.
Correct.
With what you provided us before. If
Right.
we get questions about background stuff.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for the updates.
Well, Odyssey has been a big topic of conversation, and your department's done a really good job in this process. So appreciate it. I'd also like to mention that we were at the sheriff's office, since we had a little bit of time. They graduated 16 deputies last night. A few of us were there to congratulate them and to be in attendance. And there's a packed house at the extension center, a lot of energy in the room. It was wonderful, wonderful. And the sheriff did a really good job with his comments. And so congratulations, sheriff's office. I think he's got another class of 12 that'll be starting in January that'll graduate in the summer. So they're making real good headwinds on their staffing in the sheriff's office. Any other things while I have a little bit of time before we take a quick
One
break?
thing, Chairman, and Tanya just brought to my attention. Yesterday, the governor's budget came out, and in that budget is a $40 million allocation for homeless, one-time infrastructure types of, this is the issue that so many of you worked on and led the way. And I just think we ought to acknowledge that. And that was a good day yesterday for the city and the county to see that money. Now I believe we apply for it, and it will help us in our efforts to help remedy the homeless situation that's plaguing this community. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, thank you for that mention. There was a lot of work being done. $40 million is what she's recommending in her budget. Be a grant program that municipalities can apply for services and infrastructure services. And there was a lot of work done on the back end. We hosted legislative roundtables in this room. That's where this idea was originated. Commissioner Howe, Commissioner Meitzer, all of us were involved in those conversations on the back end. And special thanks to the governor's office who were communicating and saw the need. So we have legislators in the South Central delegation that are very much in support of this, and feel really good about where we're heading in this direction. The challenges remain. And this isn't a magic bullet by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot this community has to do, but this is a good first step, a very good and appropriate first step. So, Commissioner?
Thank you, and thanks for bringing that up. Are the details, of course, the budget's got to be approved, so maybe was there a match? Was the match thing listed in the 40 million? I know we requested 50, so
Yeah, it was a-
40.
It looks like it's a 1-to-1 match for the community.
50-50. Well, that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So you guys will be communicating with the city to support them, because I think the city would be the applicant pretty much. Again,
I think that's something we have to work out. Yeah, I think those details will be worked out. Commissioner Dennis?
Thank you. I'd like Tanya to tell us one of our legislative agenda items is already being worked, and you want to bring that up? Sure. Talk about the zoo.
Yeah, happy to. I heard from Senator Blasey yesterday through a text with Jessica Lucas and received a bill on the Sedgwick County Zoo license plate. So forwarded that on to Commissioner Dennis, as well as Scott Newland and Steve Onken. So I will keep the commissioners up to date as that moves through the legislative session. But that bill has been originated and will be worked. So I think that's great news.
Thanks to everyone that worked on that. And I really thank the senator for introducing it. We actually have a bill. We got a copy of it yesterday, so that is moving through. Just to piggyback on what the chairman said about last evening, I had numerous sheriff's deputies come up and shake my hand and tell me, thank you very much for the pay raise. They sincerely appreciate what we did. Sheriff mentioned it a couple of times. He did from his talk that he had to these deputies, but it makes a difference. One thing I want to clarify a little bit, there's been some consternation on the news about a wage war. This is not a wage war. Both the city and the county need to make sure that we're paying our people wage that's commensurate to what we're asking them to do. We have a fantastic police chief. I do not want anyone outside of this community, or in the community, I should say, that believes that there is anything going on between the city and the county as far as those leaders of our sheriff's deputy, sheriff's department, and the police department. We have one of the finest sheriffs I've ever seen. We've got a fine chief of police today. Please, we don't want the rhetoric to be that there's some kind of a war between the city and the county. There's not. We work together as our partners. Thank you.
Good comments. Commissioner?
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to reflect on just the previous comment there. I'm the one that actually started that term, and I wrote it in an op-ed. It wasn't intended to mean that there's conflict between the city and the county in terms of leadership. It's that we have a shortage of people to fill these positions. And there, as the sheriff described at the podium at the meeting on Wednesday, if we don't provide a salary to retain, then they will recruit. That's what's happening. It's not that we're angry with each other. We're not. There's no negative feelings towards each other. And I agree. We want to pay these folks a good wage for what they provide to the community. That's exactly what we're doing. But there is a limited number of people, and we are essentially trying to keep what we have and fill our positions that we have open. If there are positions open, recruit people as well. We have the same challenge that they have. And some of these folks are going to take an opportunity to get a better wage if we don't bring our wages up, which is exactly why we did what we did. And so the idea of having, some folks ping pong back and forth, potentially change positions simply because of wages is what that term was based on. I don't mean this to mean that we're fighting with the city. I simply mean that salary increases are being moved up because we have a shortage of people to fill positions. If you don't move that salary up, you're not going to be able to retain what you have, and you certainly can't recruit positions that are open. So they move their wages up because they have over 100 police officer positions open. I don't blame them for what they did. But where are they going to draw those people from? Every other law enforcement agency in the entire region is going to potentially lose existing police officers to those positions. And I don't blame them for making those choices. So I'm the one that created that term. And I think if you understand what's going on, I think it's a term that has a ring to it. I think that that's why it's been used beyond my own lips. It's been used elsewhere now. And I don't mean that to mean that we're fighting. I simply mean that there is a shortage of people. If we don't do what we did on Wednesday, we're going to have a problem.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Well, budget retreat will be fun this year for sure. There's some significant challenges and we've got work to do. We've got to bring some creative solutions. So I'll second that. I think we have a great sheriff. I think he's the best sheriff walking around since Wyatt Earp. So he's the chair of the Kansas Sheriff Association. So, okay. Appreciate all the good feedback. We're going to break for 10 minutes, come back 10 a.m. sharp for agenda review. Thanks. I did his, Hunter. It's